I guess you love movies. I do too. Hi guys, and welcome back to another My Favourite Movies video. And today I'm talking about something different. Obviously recently I'm talking about Steven Spielberg movies, before that a lot of Martin Scorsese films. Today I'm talking about a foreign director. Now, I haven't really talked about foreign movies a lot on my channel. I've mentioned my love of Japanese cinema and my want to explore other genres and other countries' movies in the future. Now, I was kind of introduced to Japanese cinema through who you would all expect, and that being Akira Kurosawa. Now, I adore Kurosawa. He is one of the great masters of cinema, one of my favourite directors of all time, and truly just one of the greatest artists the medium has ever seen. And I love a lot of his films. As you can see by all the Blu-rays that I have around me, I have Seven Samurai, Ran, Rashomon, all great movies. I also have the Samurai Collection, which has another Seven Samurai in it, so I have two Seven Samurais, but nevertheless, most people have a favourite movie of a certain director. Obviously with me, with Scorsese, is Taxi Driver. And the first two Godfathers for me with Coppola, or 2001 with Kubrick. But with Kurosawa, my favourite is not his samurai epics or his Shakespearean adaptations or giant epics, or even his examination of honesty and lack of it in Rashomon. But my favourite movie from the master is Ikiru, which means to live in Japanese, and is about the story of a bureaucrat who, after finding out he has terminal stomach cancer, realises that he hasn't really lived. And he's given 6 months to live, and in that time, it's about him trying to find a purpose in his life in his last final days. Now, that sounds depressing. It doesn't. Be honest, it sounds depressing. But there's very few films that are this life-affirming. There's very few films that impact me on such an emotional level. And I'll get into a lot of reasons why, this is one of my favourite movies of all time. And this is one of the best films I've ever seen. And it continues to impact me. I watched this again the Saturday just gone, and what a film this is. What a film. Watched it the first time and I was blown away, and I was surprised how much it impacted me on second viewing. I thought maybe the experience will dull, but it didn't. It was still as raw as ever. And there's many reasons for that. Firstly, Akira Kurosawa's direction. This man uses a camera unlike I've ever seen anyone. The only one I can possibly even compare him to is Godard. And I've only seen Livre à sa vie, but in that film he used a camera like I've never seen anyone. Such an active use of camera, so inventive. And in this movie, he uses it to such brilliant effect. The way he uses the close-up. This movie has one of the greatest close-ups of all time, and it hangs on it so long. And it's almost uncomfortable. But it's so brilliant. And he is magnificent in this film. He's at his best in terms of using camera. In Seven Samurai, he uses it with such kinetic pace. But in this film, he picks his moments so brilliantly. And he zooms at the right time, he pans at the right time, he cranes at the right time. He doesn't move at the right time. This is a masterfully directed film. But then we get onto the acting. And Takashi Shimura, a lot of people talk about Toshiro Mifune when they talk about Kurosawa movies. They talk about him in Seven Samurai, or in Throne of Blood, or in Rashomon, and he's a fantastic actor. But Takashi Shimura doesn't really get the credit he deserves, in my opinion. Because in my opinion, Ikiru, his performance as Mr. Watanabe in this movie, is one of the best performances of all time, and one of the best I've ever seen. Because in this film, this is simply a mastery of physical performance, of facial performance. He could not speak a single word in this film, and he would be better than so many other people, so many performances I've ever seen, because he feels like the whole world is on his shoulders. The way he acts physically, he's so drooped down, he's so, broken down by life and the people that have sort of left him behind. And his whole demeanour is so brilliantly done physically. As I said, he doesn't barely have to speak. But there's one scene in this movie where I have certain scenes, I have a select few scenes in films that really, they never get old, they never stop impacting me, they never stop making me realise why I love movies. And one of those scenes is the bar scene in Ikiru, where he asks a guy at a bar, he's also kind of like a budding writer, to take him out on the town. He has 50,000 yen, and he wants him to show him a good time. And he takes him to all these bars and these clubs and these dance houses, and he seems out of place, and he gets drunk, and he seems like he doesn't really seem like he should be there. And they get to this bar, and they're taking songs and requests. And he tells him that he wants him to play this song. It's called Life is Short, Fall in Love. I can't remember the complete name of the song now, but it's one of the most powerful moments I've ever seen in a movie. He starts to play the song, it's old, it's 1920s, and he plays the song and he starts singing. And the entire bar goes silent, stops, and looks at him. And that close-up of him in the bar, singing, barely moving his lips, is one of the most powerful moments I've ever seen in a film, and am ever likely to see in a movie. It's absolute brilliance. Complete brilliance. It is one of the greatest scenes of all time. And I love it. And this movie is truly just one of the greatest films ever made. I mean, as the film goes along, there's another fabulous scene with a younger woman from work that's so exuberant and so full of life because she's young and doesn't care, and she's compassionate, but she isn't careful in what she says. She doesn't wonder, or she doesn't have any fear, and he's drawn to her because of this, because he wishes he could have been like that. But she doesn't really want to know him. She's kind of creeped out by his entire interest in her, and they go to a restaurant and she pretty much blows him off and says that she doesn't want to see him anymore. But in this scene, there's a group of schoolgirls having a birthday party in this restaurant over the other side of the aisle, and they're singing Happy Birthday. And this is a brilliant use of context and a brilliant use of background to inform the foreground. This is, again, brilliant directing, subtle depth by Kurosawa that he puts into this scene. Because at this moment, he realises his life isn't over. He's still alive, and he can still do something. That Happy Birthday isn't just for the girls in the background. It's his rebirth. At that point, Watanabe is reborn. He is a new man. And throughout the entire film, there's this group of women that are trying to get this stagnant water taken away from near their area and build a children's playground. And it's constantly being moved on to different sections of the council, because this is where Watanabe works. He has worked for 30 years, constantly stamping and moving on requests for public service. That's his job. His job is to not make decisions. And finally, he decides, I can't not make decisions anymore. My life is nearly over and I've never lived. And he decides, he becomes a force of nature. And he decides that he's going to get this park built, whatever happens. He becomes a different person. And people look back on him and they say, what changed? What happened? Why did he become this way? It was a complete transformation. And only faced with death did he realise how important life was, and how little of it he really had lived. And by the end, his death is inevitable. You even see his funeral before you see him really die. But he dies contented. He dies knowing there's a part of him still left for people to love and for people to use him as an example. He's not gone forever. As long as that park is there, a part of him still lives. And he finally, in the end of this movie, in one of the most iconic scenes in the entire film, singing that song once again on the swing, he dies. But finally, he found out how to live. Ikiru is one of the greatest films ever made, and one of my favourite movies of all time. So there you go, that is my favourite movies video of Ikiru by Akira Kurosawa. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, like, subscribe, put the comments down in the section below. What is your favourite Akira Kurosawa movie? I have so many. I love his movies so much. Ikiru being my favourite, but then there's Ran, and there's Seven Samurai, and Rashomon, and Throne of Blood, and just a vast body of work from truly one of the great masters of cinema. I definitely want to do more foreign movies on my channel. This is the first, hopefully, of many. I will have, hopefully, more videos out for you soon. I've been very busy recently, and I haven't been able to get some videos out. Also, I want to apologise in person for my Ready Player One review being out late. I had some editing problems. I did put a little sort of timestamp in the video talking about that, but I just wanted to say sorry in person for that. But hopefully I can get some more videos out for you guys quicker in the coming weeks, and hopefully you enjoyed this video, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Goodbye.